right. Can everybody hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Just my feedback screen there's a little bit strange. Okay, there we go. It looks like it's all right now. All right, so again, students, this big red button that's just behind my head there, click that button to join our premium IELTS course. And we have a discount code for you today. Use the code PRACTICE9, PRACTICE9 for a 20% discount. And you will see that discount at the top there once you apply it. And for the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. Again, use the code, click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package. We are an official IDP and British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center, certified agents, so you are in great hands with us. Yes, Sanjay, I see that it's all okay now, which is good to see. Yeah, YouTube was having a bit of a hiccup there, but I think it's all good now. So there we go. We'll get going on the lesson here in just a moment. Again, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS, and PRACTICE9 to get that 20% discount off of our premium course on the website. To get our apps, the apps are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. The apps link to the websites so that you can use the materials from your mobile phone. And if you want to make sure that you know when these live classes are happening, follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTSHelp. Instagram, we post vocabulary, strategies, the schedules for live IELTS classes, so definitely a good idea to follow us there. If you still have questions about the IELTS exam or about English, don't hesitate to send me an email. My email is adrian@aehelp.com, and we will get back to you quickly once we see your email. Welcome Baljit, hi Sunanta, good to see many of our members joining in the class as well. Students, we have a little bit of a unique schedule this week. So we have this class today, which is a bit of an extra class. That's because we will have several more classes this week. We're going to have 2 classes tomorrow, starting a little bit earlier with speaking part 2 for everyone at this time, and a little bit earlier we're going to have reading for members. So reading, speaking part 2, and then on Friday we'll have speaking part 3. So lots more live classes. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, the bell, so you know when these classes are happening. And of course, if you just want to watch some of our videos in the meantime, we're always releasing new videos. We've got this one that we released just last week. Check it out on our channel. I just put it into the chat. So that's a good video to help you improve your speaking. All right, everybody, so let's get cracking on today's lesson on speaking part 1. So the IELTS speaking section is a 12 to 15 minute interview where you speak with, most of the time, a native English speaker, sometimes a non-native English speaker, who of course is going to be an expert user of the English language. And they will ask you about 15 questions or so with a part 2. Now, part 1 takes about 5 minutes, 6 minutes of the interview, where the examiner will get you to introduce yourself. They will ask you a couple of questions about you and some questions on a general topic. Now, your goal, of course, is to get as high of a band score as possible, especially on the speaking section. Your speaking section scores very important. So you want to be confident and you want to speak fluently throughout your speaking interview right from the very beginning. So a very good idea for your speaking results is to practice your English well before you walk into the interview. This means that on the day of your speaking section interview, you should be speaking English only. You should tell your friends, your family that you have this important exam and that you need to stay in English and talk to everybody in English. Arrive to the speaking part of the exam early. Find somebody to talk to. Hopefully you can find another candidate at the exam center. Maybe discuss with a friend or a teacher to practice your speaking before the interview. That can often make a big difference in your score, even as much as a full band score. So make sure that on the day of the speaking, you're using lots of English well before you walk into the exam. It usually takes people at least a good 15-20 minutes for their brain to switch into English and become comfortable and fluent using English. So even if you're a good user of the English language, you want to be in English, okay? And then you want to keep in mind some strategies for the speaking, okay? So first of all, a couple of important things to do. So this is a formal interview with a stranger that does not know you. So you must speak clearly and with detail. You must stay on topic. So in the IELTS speaking, you really don't have enough time to chit-chat about irrelevant ideas. You cannot go off topic. You must not keep talking until the examiner stops you. So you must stay on topic, and you have to answer, explain. Explanations are very important and often include examples for your answers. Okay, pay attention to the grammar of questions and reflect these in your answers. Okay, the best way to do this is really just to practice. So I want to do lots of practice with you, and while we are practicing, I will give you strategies, I will give you feedback, and we will actually talk with students in this class using our websites. So you will have a chance to listen to real students, real answers, estimated band scores, and effective suggestions and corrections. Okay. So Sanjay is asking, if we address how may I call you question, answer, and what is your name, will it seem like you memorized it? Yeah, Sanjay, that's a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, all knowledge that a human has is in some sense memorized, but it should be dynamic, okay? The key is not to have what seems like memorized answers, but to have dynamic answers. So you want to learn different ways to answer the questions of what is your full name, or may I see your identification, and then just speak naturally. So you do not want to sound like you're reading a script or one single memorized answer that you practiced before the exam. So the trick, Sanjay, is to learn different ways and to use language dynamically. Let's practice this, and I will show you. So you go to your IELTS speaking exam and you register for the speaking 20 minutes before you go in. You will go into a room. There will be some exam proctors. They will ask for your identification. They will take a picture of you. They will ask you to leave any digital objects or any objects other than a pencil in that room, and then you will have 20 minutes before you actually meet with your examiner. Okay, now of course there are some newer or some different versions to the speaking interview where you do the computer-based exam. Basically that's the same as the face-to-face, you're just not meeting the examiner in person, you're meeting them through the computer at the exam center. And IDP has launched a new format where you can do the speaking interview from home. It's not too common yet, but in that one as well, you want to make sure that you practice lots of English and use lots of English before you actually do the interview from your home with the examiner. And then eventually, of course, you get into the nexus, the communication with the examiner, and the examiner will greet you. They will be very professional. They will sound serious, but don't be frightened. Don't be nervous. This is their job. They meet with dozens of candidates every day when they're doing the exam. So if you make mistakes, if you have some kind of strange pronunciation, it's not unique for them. It's not weird for them. This is normal for them. They examine a lot of students. So just focus on yourself, okay? It's super important that you're paying attention to yourself, your answers, the information that you're giving, and don't worry too much about what the examiner is doing. They're just doing their job, okay? All right, and the first question the examiner will ask you is, may I see your identification? They have these standard questions. They're trained to ask you these questions. And this first one is very standard. They need to make sure that you haven't switched with somebody during the 20 minutes waiting for the interview. So they will ask you, may I see your identification? And here, right away, you have to get into this kind of mental space, this thought that, okay, I'm confident, here we go. I'm going to be fluent. I'm going to answer this question nice and clear and step by step. So you start by saying, yes, of course, here is my passport that I have used to register for the IELTS exam. Please take a look. Okay, again, lots of different ways to answer this. Now, everybody, this is speaking, so make sure that you speak and repeat throughout this lesson, okay? So don't just listen. Listening is good, but then you're only doing a listening exercise. The goal of today's class is to practice your speaking. So copy what I say, copy how I say it, pay attention to what other students will say later in the class. Maybe copy what they're saying, try to say it correctly if you find mistakes. And here we go. So just repeat after me. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. May I see your identification? Yes, of course. Here's my passport that I have used to register for the IELTS exam. Please take a look. Okay, voice yourself. Get it out. Project your voice. Okay, practice repeating questions as well. Oftentimes, students make the mistake of only focusing on answers and not focusing on questions. You should look at both sides of the conversation. It's very important, okay? And I will write this up because I usually don't, and it's a very important tip. So when you practice for your IELTS speaking, make sure to practice questions as well, so that you experience both sides of the communication or conversation. Okay, that's a much better approach than just focusing on answers. So many times I find that candidates studying for the IELTS, they're really just focusing on answers. And it actually causes them to end up with lower scores, with lower quality answers, because they're really not sensing the perspective of the examiner or the other speaker in the conversation, if you will. Okay, so definitely practice questions, even when they're as simple as, may I see your identification? Okay. No, Chaya and Kip, I realized that there was an issue with the title at the beginning. No, the topic is always different in these live classes, so it's not about transportation in this one. In this one, we're focusing on watching television, okay? All right, good. So we've got my answer here. Yes, of course. Here's my passport that I have used to register for the IELTS exam. Notice the present perfect here. I have used. Please take a look. Baljit, our longtime member, has a little bit of a different answer. Baljit says, here is my passport, which I have used to register for the exam. Please have a look at my credentials. Okay, there are hundreds of different ways to answer this question. So practice different ways, know what you're saying, sound natural. Okay. All right. And then the next question, usually while you're showing your identification, is what is your full name? Okay. So what is your full name? Give your full name. And there's kind of a hidden question here. The hidden question is, what should I call you? These days, it's very common for people to ask about your nickname or the name that you like to be called. Many students in, or many people in Asian countries often will have an English nickname. So you should present that with this question, okay? It shows that you prepared. It shows that you're ready for the exam. So always give your full name as it appears in your identification, and then also include the name that you want to be called. Okay. All right. Minelik 23 says this, and it's a good answer. It's not too long, but it answers the question, and it answers the kind of hidden question as well. Minelik says, my full name is Minelik Hagere. Please call me by my first name, Minelik. Very good. You don't need more than that. And when you say that, make sure you sound confident and sure of yourself. Okay. All right. Harry Jot has a little bit of a different answer. So I'm just grabbing these from our chat, from what students are saying. If there's a mistake, I will correct it. Harry Jot says, my first name is Herjot and Tind is my family name, but just call me by my English name, Harry. All right, very good. That's a good example of that English nickname. So make sure you have good intonation for this kind of answer. My first name is Harjot and Thind is my family name. But just call me by my English name, Harry. Very good. That works. Okay. It's clean, clear, natural language. Very nice. Okay. Okay. Asht is asking for some tips for tomorrow's speaking exam. Asht, you will have lots of tips throughout this class, and you might even be able to practice a little bit with me if you hang in there. Okay. Abigail Owusu has a little bit of a different answer. Let's take a look at one more before we move on. All right, Abigail. So Abigail says, my first name is Abigail and my surname is Owusu. Barney is my family name, but you can call me Abigail. Okay, we need to correct this a little bit because this response is a bit confusing. So students definitely don't confuse the examiner when they're asking you for your identification and your name. So my first name is Abigail and my surname is Owusu Barney. Is that connected? Like, are those two names together? Like Owusu Barney is my family name. So surname, okay, and family name are the same. Okay, so your family name is your surname. There's synonyms. Don't use both of those because in this case, Abigail, I'm starting to get a bit confused. So is your surname Owusu or is it Barney? Or is it the two names together? Okay, so you need to say this a little bit clearer. I'm going to go with my feeling here that your family name is Owusu Barney. So I'm going to take this part out, okay? And then it will make a bit more sense unless I'm wrong, and then you can correct me. But definitely, again, don't confuse the examiner with these questions. So my first name is Abigail and my surname is Owusu Barney, but you can call me Abigail. And I wouldn't say but you can call me. I would say please call me Abigail. Okay, so a fair bit of correction there before it really makes sense to me and it's clear. All right, be very, very careful. Okay, here's a couple of important points. So first name is your given name. All right, your family name is your surname. All right, British people often will say surname. Americans often say family name, but make sure that you don't confuse your examiner. Okay, all right. So with the introduction aside, you should now feel confident. You should feel that you're ready to do this. You're ready to give your best performance. And then the examiner will say, okay, for part one, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Do you work or study? It's one of the most common questions. I'm not sure if they ask this question every single exam, but they definitely ask it a lot. So everybody, well, most people who will take the IELTS exam tend to do some kind of work or some kind of study. If nothing else, you're studying for the IELTS exam. So you can say, well, currently I'm not formally enrolled in school and I'm not really working, but I am studying for this IELTS exam because I need a good score to immigrate to Canada, for example, right? So you should definitely have an answer for this. Positive answers are easier, so always focus on a yes answer instead of a no answer. If you say, nope, I don't work or study, it's kind of a dead end. And then the examiner's like, okay, this might be a tough conversation if you keep answering this way. So try to really focus on the positive, okay? That's an important tip. Okay, so tip here coming up, very important. Lots of strategies and tips in this lesson coming up for you here. So tip, always focus on giving positive yes answers, as these make for more fluent and better conversation. And usually the topics and the questions are designed in such a way that you should be kind of saying yes to these, okay? The no type of questions are rare in the speaking. And of course, that's because in the IELTS, they want you to be fluent. They want to hear you speak English. So most of the questions are questions where you're thinking yes instead of no, okay? So do you work or study? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Sanjay, I see you have a good answer going on. Let's take that. So I'm really focusing on students' answers today, but I will give you answers as we go along also. So Sanjay says, along with preparing for IELTS, I'm pursuing my Bachelor of Arts from my RKSD college with my favorite subject, psychology. Yeah, that's a good answer. So along with preparing for IELTS, I am pursuing my Bachelor of Arts from RKSD college with my favorite subject, psychology. Yeah, that works. Okay. All right. Now, here, Sanjay, what I would do, okay, and this is a very important tip, is include an explanation, okay? So I get that you're studying psychology because it's your favorite subject. Okay? So fine, you don't have to explain that to me, and maybe you'll talk more about that tomorrow or the next day or later in the test. But I am curious why you are preparing for IELTS if you are in this Bachelor of Arts for Psychology. So I would give a little bit more information to get that higher band 8 or band 9 score, okay? Because even if you're speaking perfect English, natural English, if your answers are short and you don't include explanations, then your coherence score will go down a bit. So you might still not get a band 9 even though you have very good English. So you want to include an explanation, something like this, Sanjay. So the reason I'm taking IELTS is because I hope to pursue or I hope to do, you've already used pursue, so let's not repeat. I hope to do my master's in the US down the road. Okay. Down the road, by the way, is an idiom which means in the future. Okay. So just simple explanations. They don't have to be complex. In fact, they shouldn't be. Your explanations should be clear and simple, and they will earn you band scores, okay? So Sanjay, try it like this. Along with preparing for IELTS, I'm pursuing my Bachelor of Arts from my RKSD college with my favorite subject, psychology. The reason I'm taking IELTS is because I hope to do my master's in the US down the road. Okay, and now simple, but clear, right? Why you're also doing the IELTS exam. Okay, so don't forget explanations, students. Explanations. Always think about the why question. If you have a chance to look at these questions of the examiner, which of course you can't in the real exam, you will see that they often have this why question included. So on the examiner's questions sheet, you see that there's a question and then why, question and then why. And you should automatically answer that why question. So you should always be thinking explain, explain, explain. Okay. All right. C programming simplified is giving us this answer here. Let's take this one. So C programming says, currently I am at the senior year in high school. Okay, let's correct this a little bit as we go along, C programming. So currently I am in senior year in high school, and I have 1 year until graduation, and I intend to pursue my studies abroad, and that is why I take this test. Okay, good. Yeah, so there you go. There's a nice explanation included with why you're sitting in front of me taking the IELTS exam. Examiners like to know that. That's kind of one fun part of their job, is to discover why people are sitting the IELTS exam. So if you tell them that, most examiners will appreciate you for it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Kabita, let's see what you have. You have a nice answer here for us, I believe, as well. So let's take a look at Kabita's answer from the chat. Okay, watch the corrections, students. Sometimes the corrections are small, like just changing a preposition, at to in, but they're important. Okay, you want to fix even small mistakes, especially when going for those higher band scores, okay? So Kabita says, currently I am working full-time in Medicity Hospital as an in-charge. I had completed my bachelor in healthcare management 3 years before, and now I'm planning to study master's abroad, not in abroad, just abroad. Okay, good. And that also tells me that you're taking the IELTS because you want to study masters abroad. Okay, good. I'm not sure what in charge is. You might have to explain that to me. I know the word intern for working in a hospital, but maybe I'm just not familiar with that role. Okay, yeah, and just a quick tip here. So for your speaking practice, so linking words are important. It's important to join your ideas. Okay, so linking words are very important for coherent and fluent conversation. Now, there are 3 families of well, I should say there's 4, but 3 kind of important families of linking words in the English language, and you should clearly know these and understand these. So linking words are very important for coherent and fluent conversations. Be familiar with the 3 main groups of linking words. What are they, students? So what are the 3 kind of groups of what we call linking words? Let me give you a bit more help here. They're conjunctions. Junction, to join. Conjunction, to join together. So conjunctions. There are 3 kind of families of conjunctions in the English language. Does anybody know what they are? And I won't go too far down this rabbit hole because each one could be a lesson on its own. Anahita, that's right. Subordinating conjunctions, yeah. Or subordinative, sure. Conjunctions, yeah, absolutely. Very good, Baljeet. Yeah, coordinating. Conjunctions and correlative conjunctions. Okay. Those are the 3 big groups. Okay, if this is new for you, if you have not seen these words, subordinating conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions, correlative conjunctions, you definitely want to Google these at some point. Okay, subordinating conjunctions have multiple subfamilies. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but there's opposition, there's condition, there's cause and effect, and time. Okay, so those are the different subgroups. Coordinating conjunctions are and, nor, but, for, or, so, and yet. I believe I've got all of them. There's a kind of a fun acronym for this. It's fanboys. So for and nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay, so remember those. And correlative conjunctions are the paired conjunctions. Okay, so paired conjunctions like not only, but also, whether, or, neither, nor, either, or, both, and. Okay, so subordinating conjunctions, a lot of you learn these, you use these, you have to use these in your speaking and in your writing section to get high marks, high band scores. Coordinating conjunctions, those are the first ones that people usually learn, so most of you use them quite well. Although pay attention to some of these, like for example, nor. A lot of people don't really use nor or don't really use yet, and you should practice those ones as well. It's nice to hear those in conversation, okay? Now, this one here, the correlative conjunctions, those are the ones that people often ignore, and the reason for that is that you don't have to use them. So coordinating conjunctions are an easier way to speak than correlative conjunctions. So a lot of people don't use correlative conjunctions. Even native speakers often ignore using correlative conjunctions. But correlative conjunctions are very useful. Okay, so these conjunctions make communication strong or stronger and clearer. So learn to use them in your IELTS speaking. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, let me give you an example of this. So the question again that we're answering is, do you work or study? Okay, and here I can answer it in this way. So I can say, currently, I am both working as a cashier at a store to make ends meet, and I'm also studying economics because I want to build a business in the future. My plan is to have my own clothing store at some point. Okay, so here I'm using the correlative conjunction both and. Now listen to how this sounds when I say it naturally. So currently I'm both working as a cashier at a store to make ends meet, and I'm also studying economics because I want to build a business in the future. My plan is to have my own clothing store at some point. So here I'm using the correlative conjunction both and to emphasize that I not only work, but I also study. Notice how I used a different one right there. I not only work, but I also study. Okay, so I'm emphasizing that I'm very busy and I am doing both of these. Of course, I can say it simpler. So I can say, currently I'm working in a store and I'm also studying economics. It's not as strong, there's not as much emphasis, there's not as much clarity and fluency. So correlative conjunctions, specifically for the IELTS exam, are a very good strategy to improve your score with more fluency. And it sounds formal. It sounds like you're really there to do business, to mean business. Okay? By the way, here's another idiom, make ends meet. Okay? Make ends meet is an idiom which means to pay the bills for food, clothing, shelter, okay, necessities. All right, so make ends meet. You don't have to use idioms in your speaking section. You can get a great band score, even a band 9 maybe, without using idiomatic language like this. But if you know these idioms and if you can use them smoothly in your communication, why not, right? It's good to learn these, so pay attention to those. Okay, so again, correlative conjunctions, very important. I look forward to hearing some of these correlative conjunctions in your responses as we go through the following questions. So let's try the next one here. Okay, what do you like to do in your leisure time? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay. So here's the next question. What do you like to do in your leisure time? Leisure time is your free time, it's your hobbies, it's your spare time. The two most popular questions at the start of your IELTS speaking. Do you work or study? What do you do in your free time? It's kind of like work or study, free time, right? It's your day. It's what you're doing in the day, okay? All right, Anonymous, let's take your answer here and analyze it a little bit. All right. So Anonymous says, leisure time is all about enhancing my hobby for me. I have a keen interest in literature, so I write poetries, articles, and much more. I also make sure to analyze how good I am doing my life, question mark. All right. So this would be a band 5. Okay. Band 5 because it is incomplete. No explanation. There are language mistakes. Repetition. And confusing or awkward phrasing. Okay. So this would be a band 5. So let's fix it. Okay. I'm not sure who you are, Anonymous, because you're anonymous, but pay attention. I'm going to fix it here. So first of all, when you have leisure time, right, you want to paraphrase that. You should definitely be able to paraphrase a word like leisure time. So in my spare time, okay? Now you're picking up lexical resource marks, right? So vocabulary marks. They're looking for vocabulary. The way to get a better vocabulary mark is to paraphrase the question. So to use words that are a little bit different than what you hear in the question, but have similar meaning, okay? Now, leisure time is all about enhancing my hobby for me. It's confusing. Your leisure time is your hobby time. What are you enhancing? What does that mean? It's awkward phrasing. It doesn't mean much for me. So in my spare time, I like to engage in literature because I love to gain information and read stories. Okay, so let's get that explanation. Why do I like literature? Why do I like books? I like getting new knowledge. I like getting new information. I like to read stories. Okay, so in my spare time, I like to engage in literature because I love to gain new information and read stories. Okay, good. Also, I like to write poetry and articles about issues in my community. Okay, so what kind of articles? What am I writing? Am I writing blogs for websites? So let's give some detail to the examiner. Okay. I also make sure to analyze how good I am doing in my life. Okay, what does that mean, right? Instead of saying that, let's just give an example. Last month, I wrote a blog article about the vehicle traffic in my area causing a lot of pollution. I'm just making this up, right, based on your answer, Anonymous. So here I'm thinking answer, explanation, example, and I need to remember that the examiner is a stranger, so I have to give them clear, detailed information, okay? So this would be a band 9 response because it has lots of vocabulary, so clear answer with explanation and example. Okay, good vocabulary and fluency. Okay, so that's what they're looking for. So again, what do you like to do in your leisure time? Repeat after me. In my spare time, I like to engage in literature because I love to gain new information and read stories. Also, I like to write poetry and articles about issues in my community. Last month, I wrote a blog article about vehicle traffic in my area causing a lot of pollution. Great. Now I know exactly what you like to do in your free time, and I even have a good picture or example of what that means for you specifically. Okay? So that's what you want to focus on. All right? Okay, and then once you get through these first few introductory questions, the examiner will say, okay, now I will ask you some questions on a general topic. Let's talk about television. Sure, and as soon as you hear that, your brain should focus, okay, on this and start thinking about relevant ideas, okay? Movies, TV shows, comedies, action, documentary, okay? Netflix, Disney TV, I don't know. So just all those different popular words and concepts and ideas that are around TV, your brain should just start bringing those ideas to the foreground so that they're swimming around in your head so that you can use them when the examiner is asking you these questions. Okay, so the examiner asks you the first question: how often do you watch TV? Give a nice full sentence for this one. Now, whenever you hear this question, how often, you should immediately think adverbs of frequency. Okay, very common, this how often question. So how often do you watch TV? Adverbs of frequency: always, often, usually, never, sometimes, rarely, okay, never. So these should come to mind, all right, these words, okay. Sansar, let's see what you have. Students, please only put your answer once into the chat. Sansar, I'm going to put you in a timeout just to remind everybody that we only want answers once in the chat, otherwise it becomes really spammy, okay? So only once, all right? Anahita, let's see what you have. Please do not copy paste answers into the chat. It's really annoying for other students as well. So just once, okay? If I see your answer coming up 5 times, I'm going to ignore it. So Anahita writes, I hardly ever watch TV since I have become addicted to the internet and social media. Moreover, since my country's political system has changed, the government does not allow TVs to publish my favorite shows. Okay, so Anahita, that's a pretty good answer, but it definitely kind of stops at an exciting point without a finish, okay? So it's kind of like a TV series or a movie that has an end, but not really, and I'm like, oh, what's happening after this, right? So Anahita, what's like your favorite TV show that you're not allowed to watch anymore, okay? So I used to love watching, I don't know, let's come up with one here. So I used to love watching The Simpsons, but it got pulled from the program, okay? Or the government pulled it from the program, all right? So Anahita, I hardly ever watch TV since I have become addicted to the internet and social media. Now, what does hardly ever mean to you, Anahita? So like maybe once a month. Okay, so let's give some numbers to that idea so that we have absolute clarity. So again, Anahita, I hardly ever watch TV since I have become, let's correct that, addicted to the internet and social media, so maybe once a month. Moreover, since my country's political system has changed, the government is better here, does not allow TV channels, TV stations, to publish my favorite shows. I used to love watching The Simpsons, but it got pulled from the program. Okay, now it's accurate and clear. Okay, So one more time, Anahita. I hardly ever watch TV since I have become addicted to the internet and social media, so maybe once a month. Moreover, since my country's political system has changed, the government does not allow TV stations to publish my favorite shows. I used to love watching The Simpsons, but it got pulled from the program. Okay, now it's a fluent, clear answer. Now I have enough detail that I'm not left wondering what you are thinking or talking about. All right, that's the way to do it. Okay, and I can see that El Murad says, let's do some volunteering. El Murad, I'm going to make your wish come true, and I have a feeling there's some other people waiting for that now. Yes, it's that time, students. So we are going to do some actual speaking practice with some of our viewers and learn more strategies and learn about band scores, what certain band scores sound like. So you will now have a chance to talk to me and practice your speaking, and everybody will hear it and everybody will practice together, and we will support each other, right? Peer support. Support your fellow students. It's very, very important. Okay. So to volunteer for speaking, we're going to use our website. Students, again, if you like these live classes, definitely make sure to check out our websites, because that's what we use in a lot of our live class teaching. To join the premium package, click the red button, or you can click this green button that's kind of behind me there. It does not cost money to use this speaking system. It's free for everybody. The goal here to volunteer is to go to aehelp.com. So again, right now we're in aehelp.com. Many of you know this. And once you go to aehelp.com, either join the premium package, which is a really good idea if you plan to watch these classes regularly and you plan to sit your IELTS exam. Again, we're IDP, British Council partners, so you're in good hands with us. And then once you do that, you will log in to your My Student account. Your My Student account will look like this. If you're on mobile, it might look a little bit different. You'll have computer-based practice exams, a full online interactive course for strategies. You'll have exam books with practice exams for all sections. You'll have over 100 video lessons in HD for all of the different sections. And then here to the right, that's just above my head there, let me show you what you got there. So you got lots of help here. What you have here is the student partner speaking button and the speaking interview practice button. The student partner speaking is what we will use right now. So this is where you want to go. Okay, it's that blue button that I'm showing you right there. And when you click on that, you accept the terms. It means that you will speak politely and you are responsible for your own information and speech. And then you will see this interface where you see lots of students. It's kind of like WhatsApp or Skype or something like that. You see Hoang, you see Zarina, Bait, Dilip, and lots more students. And then you will see me. Okay, you will see me as Master. So click on Master on the blue envelope. Okay, please click on the blue envelope. And when you click on the blue envelope, you can send me a message like, I want to volunteer. And then I will respond. So one of our members here, Zarina, it looks like she's ready. She's at the top. So let's go with that. Please don't call me. Okay, so Zarina, are you ready? Yes. I will call you. Okay, don't call me, otherwise it turns into a mess. Okay, so Zarina, if you're ready, let me know and we'll kind of get into some of these practice questions, give everybody a good idea of how this works. All right. Hi, Zarina. How are you?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you again, sir.
Good to see you as well. How do you feel about the Wednesday class a little bit earlier this week, right?
I'm always excited to watch your YouTube channel.
Thanks, Zarina. All right, it sounds like I set this up, Zarina, with you saying things like that. All right, Zarina, great. So thank you for being the first volunteer this week. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Zarina, can you just tell everybody where you are from?
I come from the Philippines and it's in the Southeast Asia.
Okay, Philippines, Southeast Asia. How many islands does the nation of Philippines include?
7,100. As
Wow.
far as my history, I have no.
Wow. I knew it was a lot, but I did not know it was that many. 7,100 islands in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Oh
depends
my
on
goodness.
the high tide and the uh, water condition.
Oh, so sometimes some of these
It's
islands will actually
more.
disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. Amazing. I would love to visit there someday. All right, Zarina, let's get into some of these IELTS speaking part one questions. Now, Zarina, you're in these classes regularly, which is great. So,
Yes.
what you should always focus on is to include any kind of new information that you hear in the class. And today, I was really emphasizing the use of correlative conjunctions. Okay.
I will try my best.
Yeah, so just do your best. See if you can stick a couple of those in there when I ask you these. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so welcome to the speaking section of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. May I see your identification?
Yes, certainly. Here's my passport that I have used to register for this IELTS exam. Please have a look.
What is your full name?
My first name is Zarina and my last name is Torrevillas. Please just call me by my given name, Zarina.
Okay, Zarina, the speaking has three parts. I will give you instructions for each. For part one, I will ask you a couple of questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Do you work or study?
I am currently doing both. I juggle my time between work and study. I'm a registered nurse at the local hospital where I live, and I'm learning IELTS lessons for my professional growth. I plan to work and study abroad depending on where my IELTS score permits.
What do you like to do in your leisure time?
I love to do painting. I have a complete set of materials for this pastime, and my point of interest is scenery. But I also dabble in gardening sometimes. These pastimes make me feel relaxed.
Let's talk about watching TV. How often do you watch TV?
Um, I often watch TV shows as much as possible, usually in the evenings. I always follow the evening news to keep me updated. The latest information I got about the war in Ukraine between Russia is President Zelensky's retaliating against Russia.
Okay. Um, that is an example of a band 9. That was fantastic. Zarina, that was your best speaking so far that I've heard in these classes. Outstanding. I would
Thank you
have
so
no
much, sir.
Yeah, I would have no problem giving you a band 9 for that, and I believe that most of my fellow IELTS experts, professionals, examiners out there would do the same. So that's what it takes, students. I
I'm
think
studying your lessons at by both ends, really doing it hard.
yeah, you're really implementing a lot of the tips that you've learned over the past more than a month now. I'm sure, maybe even a couple months. But so your answers are clear, they're fluent, you sound confident. First of all, you're very calm. I love how you're just super calm and confident in what you're doing. That's it's great to hear. It's really nice for me as a teacher to experience that progression
Thank you,
in
sir.
students. So that's fantastic. So let me give students a couple of interesting points about what you did here to get that band 9. So first of all, when I asked you, may I see your identification, right away, I immediately knew from the way that you answered that you spent time preparing for the exam. Like, you've been practicing this exam, you know about the format of this exam, and you have sat with teachers, other students, other people, and gone through these questions again and again to make sure that you're just very sure of yourself. So when I said, may I see your identification, you immediately responded with, certainly, here's my passport. It was clean, clear, no grammatical mistakes. The intonation, the enunciation was flawless. I mean, I can hear in your pronunciation that it's not a native English speech, but it's so clear to me that that doesn't matter. So a band 9 pronunciation doesn't mean that you sound British. It just means that it's clear and I have no problem understanding you. And then when I asked you about your name, again, lots of confidence, nice fluency. I know that I should call you Zarina for the rest of the exam. And then when I asked you about work and study, once again, you answered that very clearly for me. You told me that you're a registered nurse and that you are learning IELTS for your professional growth. You were speaking so fluently that I really couldn't catch or type everything that you were saying, which is a good sign. It means that you're being very fluent. But I did, of course, catch some of those very nice parts of the English language, like learning IELTS for my professional growth. So knowing this collocation, professional growth, tells me that you're very familiar with the English language. Okay. And that's a nice piece. So students, again, when you hear new vocabulary or collocations like IELTS for my professional growth, make sure to learn those, okay? Zarina definitely used a few of these throughout the response. Okay, so that was really good. And then I was really amazed at how you really just didn't make mistakes. Okay, so you didn't include the linking words as much as I was hoping, like either or, neither nor. But regardless, I mean, it's not something you have to do. It's just a good idea to practice those. Okay, and then when I asked you, what do you like to do in your leisure time? You didn't use the question, like you could have said in my free time, but instead you just answered right away. You said, I love to do painting, which was great. And then you said, my point of interest is scenery. That was, again, very nice use of natural language. And then you said, I dabble in gardening. Okay, for those viewers who don't know what that means here, dabble is like when you kind of poke at things. Dabble in this context means I do it, but not frequently. Like, it's something that you do a little bit. So to do a little bit means to dabble in gardening. And it's idiomatic expression to dabble, but nice natural language. We do say that, like, I dabble a little bit. So that was really good. That was a nice use of natural language as well. If I really wanted to be picky, Zarina, you maybe could have included an example here, like I planted some rose bushes in my garden last month or a couple of weeks ago. So pay attention to those examples, yes, for sure, right? But overall, yeah, band 9 for sure. So very nice. Keep it up, Zarina.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and thank you for being the first volunteer. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you that you have picked me also.
Okay,
thank
bye,
you, sir.
Zarina.
Bye.
All right, really nice example by Zarina. So that's how it's done, students, okay? And, you know, if you're not there yet, that's why you're here now, is to get to that level. Bait here, let's see what Bait's doing. Bait says, I want to volunteer. Bait, are you ready? Okay. And whether you're a band 5, 6, or 7, doesn't matter. What's most important is that you try and that you speak, okay? Don't compare yourself to other students. Compare yourself to you, all right? So Bait is ready. Hello, Bait. I hear that you picked up, but I don't hear your voice. Can you hear me? Bait, check your microphone settings. Make sure that your microphone is set up well, and make sure that your microphone and speakers are enabled on your browser for the website. So when the browser asks you, do you want this website to be able to use your microphone and your speakers, you need to click yes in your settings, okay? Otherwise, it won't work. A good tip, everyone, is to try this with other students before you call me, just to make sure that it's working for you. There's sometimes government level barriers as well for some countries with chat software. So just check it out. So Bait, check it out. Call another student, send them a message. I'd like to try this. I set up my microphone. Can you give me a hand? And I'm sure somebody else will love to make sure that theirs is working as well. So try it out. Okay. All right. Let's go a little bit down here. Huey. Huey, sure. Are you ready? Okay. So I'm going to give as many students a chance as possible here. Okay, Huey, yes. All right, here we go. Hello, Huey.
Oh, yes, sir.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Good to see you again. I am the student with like a family name in Vietnamese.
Right. Have we talked before, Huey?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll be honest, I don't remember, but thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Huey, where are you in Vietnam? Which city?
Well, I'm living in the nearby province of the capital is the Phu Thot province.
Phu Thot province?
Yeah, in the north.
In the north part of Vietnam. Okay. Is it very mountainous?
Yeah, it's kind of mountain and it's contain a few like flat area.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Huey, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
Well, currently I am studying IELTS for my university career.
University career. Okay. All right, Huey, well, let me ask you a few questions and then I will give you some feedback. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
ready.
All right, let's talk about television. What is your favorite TV show?
Well, actually, my favorite TV show is HBO, which is contains a lot of series, and that I really love it. Last 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 night I was watch my most favorite series is Fast and Furious 6.
Where in the house do you keep your TV?
Well, actually, my TV is located in my parent bathroom, which is in the second floor of my house. And when I want to watch TV, I need to get inside my parents' room.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, good. All right. So that would be about a band 5.5 to 6. Okay, so 5.5 on the low end, band 6 on the high end. Okay, I say band 6 because you are fluent, so you don't really stop or get confused about what to say next. You don't have to really think too much about grammar or vocabulary. So some examiners might give you a band 6 for that. I say 5.5 because you have a fair number of mistakes with grammar that are awkward, and your answers are a bit on the simple side for some of it. Let me reflect on your answers one by one, and then you'll know what I mean. Okay, so I asked you, what is your favorite TV show? And then you said, well, actually, my favorite TV shows HBO. HBO is a TV station or a TV production company. It's not really a show. A show would be like Fast and the Furious, the series, right? Now be careful, Fast and the Furious 6 would be more of a movie, and as far as I know, not a series, right? TV shows are either like a series or the regular evening news. So those would be TV shows. So some kind of a 30-minute segment that's regularly on once a week or once a night. So here your answer is incorrect, to be just blunt, right? I'm asking you about TV shows and you're telling me about TV platforms or TV stations. So that's kind of the first mistake there. And then you say, which contains a lot of series, and I really love it. That's repetition. So really love it just repeats my favorite TV show. You want to avoid repeating yourself as much as possible. And then you said last night I was watched, right? So it's a very common mistake to combine the past of the be verb with the past of the verb. But here you want to take out the was because you just simply watched, not I was watched, but simply I watched. My favorite series, Fast and the Furious 6. Now, in the IELTS, I'm not going to judge you for your example, so I'm not going to say, hey, but that's a movie, that's not a series. So the examiner will not do that, okay? So the example, you can just make it up and you can say Fast and the Furious 6, fine. That's okay, but definitely pay attention to accuracy and grammar, okay? And think explanation example. So, well, actually, my favorite TV show is Fast and the Furious 6 because I really like the action genre, okay? Genre, and this has lots of fast cars and gunfight scenes, okay? So I watched an episode 2 days ago. Okay, so answer, explanation, example, and really pay attention to that question. Try to repeat this after me, okay? So I'm going to give you this answer, and once I'm finished, copy me, okay? So here we go. Well, actually, my favorite TV show is Fast and the Furious 6 because I really like the action genre, and this has lots of fast cars and gunfights. I watched an episode 2 days ago.
Shall I repeat now?
Yeah, go for it. What is your favorite TV show?
Well, actually, my favorite TV show is Fast and Furious 6 because I really like the action genre, and it has lots of fast car and gunfight. I watched an episode 2 days ago.
Okay, much better. You see how that's just much more accurate to the question that I'm asking you, right? So yeah, and this is very important because this is your coherence score, and your coherence score is your most important score. So if a person is fluent, if a person has lots of vocabulary, lots of grammar, but they're not coherent, the score is low. So you have to focus on coherency first, okay? All right, and then the next one, I'm just going to correct this, and then I'll get you to repeat. So actually, my TV is located in my parents' bedroom, which is on the second floor of my house. And when I want to watch TV, I go there. I need to get inside my parents' room. Sounds kind of strange. So I go there and lounge on their bed. Okay, so I'm going to say this and then just repeat after me, okay? Here we go. Actually, my TV is located in my parents' bedroom, which is on the second floor of my house. And when I want to watch TV, I go there and lounge on their bed. Where in the house do you keep your TV?
Actually, my TV is located in my parents' bedroom, which is on the second floor of my house. And when I want to watch TV, I go there and lounge on their bed.
Much better, okay? So keep up the good studies, Huey. Record yourself, record the conversations with your teachers and your study partners, and then listen back and correct these kind of awkward sentences and phrases and make sure that, okay, this answers the question clearly. Okay, so really pay attention to that. All right.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Huey. Have an awesome rest of your day in Vietnam.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye for now. All right, that was Huey. Very nice. Okay, very nice. And I see lots of answers coming up in the chat as well. So Rumi says, in my house, there's a 42-inch LED TV attached to the wall in the living room, and it's in the center of the apartment. Okay, Rumi, clarity. All right, but close. Okay, so good. Sunantha, let's see if Sunantha is ready. Are you ready? Sunantha is one of our members as well. So let's see if Sunantha is with us right now. And if Sunantha has hung in there. Yes. All right, as you can tell, students, we're picking up a bit of speed here for fluency and for practice purposes. So hang in there. Remember, if you're having a little bit of trouble keeping up, no problem, because it's YouTube, so this is recorded and you can always watch this later. Here we go, Sunantha. Or watch it again later. Hi, Sunantha.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Okay, Sunantha, do you have any questions about the speaking section of the IELTS exam?
Oh,
That was a surprise, right? What, he's asking that question? Be ready
I
for
have
surprises.
a lot of questions. Yes.
Ask me one. Ask me one.
I want to know how I can get confident or improve. How can eye contact to? Eye contact. Is it more important or not between during we get the exam?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so eye contact is important. It's important not just for the IELTS exam, but it's important for our communication. So even me sitting here, even though I can't see you right now, Sunantha, I'm looking into the camera. So your eyeball is the camera that's sitting on top of my monitor right now, and I imagine that you are actually here with me. Eye contact is important in speaking, not for the examiner so much, but for your communication. When we make eye contact, then we do eventually get confident. So we might feel a bit shy or nervous at first, but if we keep eye contact, then we become more fluent and more confident in our speech. Our eyes communicate a lot. So have you ever heard the saying that the eyes are the window into the soul?
Yes.
Okay, there's a reason why we say that in every culture. It's because we get a lot of information during communication by looking at the other person's eye and face. Okay, so when we're looking at the eyes and we're making eye contact, we're not just looking at the eyes, but we're looking at the entire face. And there's a lot of communication that happens there. So that saying that I just said is the eye is the window, the eyes are the window into the soul. So yes, you should practice that and you should do that. Now, does that mean that you should have a staring competition with the examiner? No, okay, so you don't need to be like this the whole time. All right, I think sometimes candidates misunderstand that and they're like, it actually makes the examiner a bit uncomfortable when the candidate's like looking at them like this the whole time. So you don't need to stare at them, but just like an honest, you don't have to be honest, but like an honest conversation, you keep eye contact and you speak with confidence. Yes, so the eyes are the window into the soul, and you should have a good amount of eye contact during the interview. Okay, good question. Yeah, and it's a part of confidence. So confidence, Sunantha, you get from practice, you get from doing this kind of live session with me in front of all these other people who are watching, and from holding eye contact, so from our physical behavior. And knowing that you deserve to be there. Sanantha, I mean, think about it. You've studied so much English. You've put so much work into it. You deserve to be there. And that goes for everybody. You deserve to be in that exam. You deserve
Thank you.
to be appreciated for your language skills. So remember that. Okay, Sanantha, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, we're going to continue talking a little bit about watching TV. Here we go. Do you think it is a healthy choice for children to watch TV?
In my opinion, watching TV too much is quite unhealthy with children. Even not children, even adults also get effects from watching TV a lot. When we spend a lot of time watching TV on the TV, it affects to health and mental health because we cannot we forgot to movement during sit in front of the TV. And for me, I think we should balance of time
Have
to
TV
spend.
shows changed since you were a child?
Yes, of course, definitely. I think that's changed too much far away from when I was young. I When I was young, a lot of program is quite too log. It's too authentic series, but nowadays we many program adapt to be more international of content.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. So good. Sanantha, that's a good start. It's about a band 5 to 5.5. Okay. So 5 on the low end, 5.5 on the high end. I think a lot of examiners, so 7 from 10 might give you a 5, 2, 3 might give you a 5.5. You're lacking fluency and clarity. Those are the two biggest reasons, and that affects your coherence. So
Okay.
you do kind of get stuck on what you want to say, and I'm not sure if it's because you're missing the vocabulary or the grammar or the idea. I think it's maybe a combination, and so you get stuck and it breaks your speech, and I kind of have to really pay attention to try and figure out exactly what it is that you're trying to say. In order to get a band 6, Sanantha, I should be able to understand what you're saying without too much effort. So it doesn't mean you're speaking perfectly. It doesn't mean that you have great answers, but I don't have to strain myself. I don't have to give effort to understand what you're saying. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like I have to really be like, what? So I do get what you're saying, but it's a bit of extra effort on my side. So that's why it's a 5. Let me go into it in a little bit more detail. Okay, and
Okay.
again, content. So answer, explain, example. Answer, explain, example. Is it healthy for children to watch TV? Your start was very good. Your start was a band 6.5, and then it kind of went down. And this happens to a lot of candidates. So you have to make sure that when you start with a good answer, stay with a good answer. Okay. You said, in my opinion, which was good because I asked about your opinion. I changed the question a little bit. You said, in my opinion, watching TV too much is quite unhealthy for children. Fantastic. That's an answer. And then suddenly you changed your answer. And then you said, I think you said adults get affected by watching TV. It's not my question. I didn't ask about adults, right? I asked specifically about children. And then you said, when we watch too much. So as soon as you said we is not a good word. So we, us, and you, those are words that you should usually avoid in your speaking section,
Okay.
because they generalize and they make the information confusing. Okay. as soon as you said when we, now you're talking about all people. And here we're still talking about children, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times an examiner might interrupt you because they're like, oh, they're going off topic. I'm just going to interrupt you with the next question. Okay. So you really have to pay attention to the subject, right? The subject
Yeah.
here is children. Okay. So in my opinion, watching TV too much is quite unhealthy for children. Immediately you've answered. Now you think, why, right? And then you gave that reason later, but it was again awkward because we forgot movement. Okay. So let's erase all of this and make a correction here. Okay. In my opinion, watching TV too much is quite unhealthy for children because
Less movement.
yes, they are not active. Okay, simple. So they are not active, so they get fat and physically unfit. Okay. Also, it turns their brains into mush. I'm teaching you a little bit of new English here. Mush, like think of mashed potatoes, mush, gooey. It's not nice and firm, so it turns their brains into mush. Now, here's a good question for you, Sananta. What is too much TV? So what do you think is too much TV for a child?
More than 2 hours a day
Okay, so
is too much.
yeah, kids who watch TV more than 2 hours a day are damaging their minds and bodies. Okay, so good. Now you've added numbers, right? Numbers always create clarity for your listeners. So numbers are really good when you are asked about a lot or too little or too much or how often. A lot of our life as humans revolves around numbers. Humans love numbers. Math is the universal language, right? Everybody knows math, so use math. It's the universal language. So
Press that twice.
yeah, so practice this. So stay on topic, okay? Notice how I said kids here again, right? So reiterating the subject. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. Copy me, okay? So here we go. In my opinion, watching TV too much is quite unhealthy for children because they are not active, so they get fat and physically unfit. Also, it turns their brains into mush. Kids who watch TV more than 2 hours a day are damaging their minds and their bodies. Is it healthy for children to watch TV?
In my opinion, watching TV too much is quite unhealthy for children because they are not active, so they get fat and physical unfit. Also, it turns their brains into mush. Kids who watch TV more than 2 hours a day are damaging their mind and bodies.
Yeah, very good. And confidence throughout, right? Kids who watch TV more than 2 hours a day are damaging their minds and their bodies. Okay, so confidence all the way through. Now, one other important correction here, Sananta, is the next question: have TV shows changed since you were a child? What is the grammar of that question? What's the verb tense?
Perfect tense.
That's right. It is the perfect tense. It's the present perfect, right? So you have to show me that in your answer. What is the easiest way to show me the present perfect? That you recognize the questions in present perfect, so you use present perfect. It's change over time, it's expectation. So you really want to use present perfect here in your answer. So how should you show me present perfect right away?
Experience.
What can you say? What would be a simple sentence to show me present perfect?
I have been.
Even simpler. So
I have.
even simpler, Sananta. Yes, they have. Okay, just like that. So have TV shows changed since you were a child? Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
All right, so let's try that. Have TV shows changed since you were a child?
Yes, they have.
All right, and in natural English, we really enunciate that because that's our answer. So we emphasize the have. We say yes, they have. Try it. Have TV shows changed since you were a child?
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
Good. Okay, so enunciate that. They have changed a lot. TV shows in the past focused on local culture, but now TV shows have been more about international events. Can you try that without me typing that up? So one more time, listen carefully. So yes, they have. They have
Yes,
changed
they
a lot.
They have changed a lot.
TV shows in the
T-
past were about local culture.
TV pa- TV past
One more
about
time,
in
just
the
a sec. TV
local
shows
culture.
in the past
TV show in the past
were
local
about
cultures
were about
were
local
about local
local
culture.
cultures. But these days,
But these days
they have been more about international events.
they have more about international events.
Very good. Okay. So notice that use of present perfect throughout, right? That's how we get those high band scores. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Sananta, keep up the good practice and be confident, okay? I wish I could speak your language as well as you speak English, all right? So keep it up.
Okay.
All right. Have a lovely
Yes.
rest of your day. Thanks for volunteering.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Sanantha. Give Sanantha a thumbs up. Students, support each other. It's important that everybody feels support doing this, okay? All right. Okay, students, I'm going to stop there for now. Our class is out of time, but hey, you know what? Keep practicing. So there are lots of students in the chat right now, and you can contact each other. I can see tons of people. Anahita, Jamsid Beck, lots more. Talk to each other, okay? There's so many lovely people online on our website here that you can ping each other. Just click on each other's blue envelope and say, hey, do you want to practice a couple of questions? And at the top here, let me see, do you see those? There is, yeah, there we go. At the top there, you can click on these links and there are tons of questions for you there to practice. Again, remember that this is our website, aehelp.com. And you can join the premium package by clicking on the big red button that's right just behind me, kind of above my head. And again, it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We will have more live classes this week. We will have more classes tomorrow and on Friday. So if you didn't get a chance to volunteer today, come back, volunteer again, keep pushing forward. Keep practicing, keep learning lots. For General IELTS, visit us here. The green background, the chat interface is community linked between the two websites. So you'll see the same people in the student partner speaking on both websites, okay? And that's how you improve through regular practice. We really want you to succeed. Your success is our success, and you are all beautiful, smart people. So never let anybody else discourage you or tell you otherwise. When you go into your exam, make sure to go early. Make sure to practice your English. You can use the website even to hopefully find some people to practice with before your test. And again, visit us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Subscribe to our channel, hit the notification button, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow and in the following days. Thank you to all of our volunteers. Thank you to all of you for your support. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria here in Western Canada. Much love. Bye for now.